Okay, we are live. Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Been an eventful couple of days. I lost power for pretty much an entire 36 hours in the house here, so we are now officially back. Let's hope that everything stays on. Let's hope we can get into some Manchester United news. So let's kick it off with the main story tonight, and that is Wan Bissaka potentially being the subject of a bid from Saudi Arabia, around about £30 million from Al-Nassr. They look to have moved on from their initial target in Emerson Royale and now want Wan Bissaka. Look, I can't see this deal happening, to be honest. And look, it's not that I wouldn't take 30 or 35 million for Wan Bissaka. I think that's a pretty fair offer, all things considered. But I think genuinely he does not seem to be the type of player who would make that kind of move. He just doesn't seem to be that kind of player who would go so early in his career, because I think he's something like 24 or 25. There's no way he's going to go to Saudi Arabia at this point, to me. And whilst I think, the questions will have to be asked and eventually decisions made on the status of our right back situation between Dalot and Wan Bissaka, do one go, do both go, who knows? I don't know if we're going to make that call immediately in January. Look, I would be surprised if a really big offer came in. I could see us maybe looking at it and considering it seriously. But Wan Bissaka doesn't scream to be the type of player to make the move to Saudi Arabia. Look, there's been articles out for weeks that he's not negotiating or not really talking too much with press outlets. He's not really an extroverted type of guy. He likes to keep to himself. He doesn't do a lot of these interviews. By all accounts, he seems to be a really nice guy, but he does seem to be on the quieter side. I can't see him looking to make that move and trying to get that there type of move done at all. Got Stefan in the comment, if I was United, I would put a price tag on Wan Bissaka to see how interested they are. 10 million profit, but would prefer Dalot to go instead. Stefan says 9 likes as well so far straight away, helps the channel enormously. Yes, guys, of course, thanks for the likes. Jarl is saying if we want to finish 15th in the league, we sell Wan Bissaka. Anyway, Dan Goer, I wish him the best in Portfield. Now we've loaned out every young talent we used in the summer except for Hansen. Why is he not getting a loan? What's happening there? Well, I would like to touch on Isaac Hansen in a minute as well. Got Charlie in the comments as well. Good to see you, Charlie. Thanks for joining in. But yeah, look, this Wan Bissaka one's an interesting one because I think something will have to be done with the right back situation. I don't think either Wan Bissaka or Dalot are perfect players. I think you've got questions about what we're going to do with them in the long run. Is right back an area we would look to strengthen in the summer? Perhaps it is. I'm not too sure if it's going to be an immediate move. I would be kind of surprised at that there one. Look, I can bring up another story I want to quickly touch on before we go into the likes of Dan Goran looking at Isaac Hansen, and that is Eric Choupo-Moting, a player, of course, well known for maybe having one of the best agents in the game, going from Stoke City to PSG to Bayern Munich and now maybe to Manchester United. So that seems to be the initial talk. Looks to be a loan at the end of the season. It does sort of scream like an Igalo type loan. It does kind of scream like a loan where we're like, Joel, let's just get somebody in here, be an extra shirt, be an extra body, be an extra player who can come in and just help us out in terms of scoring goals or help us having more options in those forward areas. I don't expect to see Anthony Martial on the pitch for Manchester United. I get why we're looking at someone like a Choupo-Moting. It's a short-term deal. It's not really a big deal. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I don't think either way Eric Choupo-Moting is going to be first choice striker of Manchester United next season. I can't see that being the plan for INEOS. I can't see that being the plan for Manchester United. So if he comes in, it's a short-term thing. It'll be until the end of the season. One to keep an eye out on for sure as well. Loads of comments going in there. Charlie saying Wan Bissaka is going nowhere. Jarl says Phillips joins West Ham with an option to buy. That means Scott McTominay will not be leaving for West Ham in the summer. No, it doesn't. I would be surprised if that's a move for McTominay. Look, I think you might see some kind of movement on that there as well, with McTominay going perhaps, but maybe not initially. Maybe not for another little bit. And probably not to West Ham at this moment in time. Look, Calvin Phillips might go. He might not be good for West Ham, and they might choose to go back in for McTominay. You probably could put McTominay and Calvin Phillips in the one midfield. I would be surprised if they make so much changes to their midfield in one go, but anything is a possibility. Daniel is down there as well. Good to see it, Daniel. Stephanie says 10 likes. I think we're at more than that as well. We're on 13 likes as well. Big ups, guys. Thanks very much for all that support. Much appreciated. So, just to go back to something that Jarl was saying there about Isaac Hansen Aaron. Obviously, look, there's been contract issues there. There's been promises made to him over his playing time that hasn't been delivered upon. He probably would have wanted to have gone out on loan, but he hasn't done that either yet. So we're kind of asking what's happening with Isaac Hansen Aaron, because he is one of our better young players. He is very, very highly rated by a lot of people in the academy. And is he a player we're going to see leave the club and end up going on to bigger and better things elsewhere? Is it going to be another Angel Gomez? Is it going to be a deal like that where they go on and have a better career elsewhere? That could be the situation. That could be where we find ourselves. I guess we're going to have to wait and find out. There looks to be genuine attempts from the club to get a contract sorted, so I guess that's maybe something that can be seen as a positive, but I guess we will wait and see what happens really long term with this. I think the contract situation will need to be resolved before United will look to loan him. I think that has to be something that we look into. What else have we got down here? Daniel saying there's going to be a big clear out in the summer. Absolutely going to be a big clear out in the summer, Daniel, and I have done a video on that as well. I've got like 6 minutes edited out of 9 on it, so that should be up tomorrow as well. Keep an eye out for that one dropping. But yeah, look, Hansen Aaron's Isaac Hansen Aaron is an interesting one. Jarl saying Onana benched by Cameroon. Yeah, I would like to touch on this as well, because this honestly is a fairly ridiculous story at this point in time, because Andre Onana probably should have went to African Cup of Nations a week or two before he did. He didn't go initially, missed the first match for Cameroon, and then all of a sudden it was a scenario where he is sitting waiting to get picked for that second match, and then the second match they lose, and now he finds himself benched tonight as well. So that's definitely hasn't gone to plan for him. It hasn't been a good tournament from his point of view as well. But look, there's other stories I want to touch on today as well. And some interesting transfer news that we can have a look at as well, because I believe we're looking at a player from Sheffield United, if that can be believed as well. Let me just quickly double check the story here. I think it's Andre Brooks we have been looking at as well. That seemed to be a story making the round from some people who do seem to have the odd bit of information on United in regards to the team sheets, in regards to some of the stuff coming in and out and players being brought in. So maybe Andre Brooks is a player to be keeping an eye on. Maybe that's something we can look at as well. Stephanie says, rumoured today Barcelona are after Greenwood as a priority. I wouldn't be surprised. I really wouldn't. I don't think Barcelona would have any problem bringing Mason Greenwood to the club. Look, I've said my piece on Greenwood in the summer. I'll reiterate it again now. My opinion has always been that it's the best thing for him and Manchester United for him to go elsewhere. And if United can get a fee for it, they get a fee for it. Because I think that's probably the best thing that can do. Because bringing him back is messy. It was proven to be messy in the summer as well. And I just can't see it being a good idea. I can't see it being something that we go for. They have an update as well for you, Jarl, as well. Isaac Hansen Aaron could be loaned or sold by Manchester United. That's according to Sam Bates. And that was 2 days ago. So something to keep an eye out on there, perhaps. Let me see as well. What else are you guys saying in the comments? Jarl says Cameroon look to be out to Onana will be back tomorrow. Yes, I did see that, but there is a little bit of a side story we can add to that, and that of course is that it is expected that Altay Bayındır makes his debut against Newport County regardless of what happens on Sunday. So we might actually get to see Bayındır. Maybe it turns out he is actually a real person. He is actually a player. We have actually signed this guy. He's not a figment of our imagination. He's a Manchester United player, and he's probably going to play on Sunday. So I think that's good. I'm looking forward to seeing him in a match where there's not going to be a lot of stress on him. We wouldn't expect him to have a particularly busy match in that one. At least we can get an eye out on him as well. And I would expect to see other players brought back into the fold against Newport County. Maybe someone like Mason Mount. Maybe Casemiro, Martinez. These are players we could try to ease back into it against Newport County. And look, I was having this conversation earlier with a friend. I think I'm really curious and I really can't wait to see Mason Mount in a Manchester United shirt. And the reason I say that is we went so hard, so fast to try sign Mount in the summer last year. We went absolutely all out, and it was the first deal that we did, even before we had a goalkeeper at the club, even before we had a striker at the club. The first thing we did was sign Mason Mount, and he really hasn't done anything of note so far in his career at Manchester United. He hasn't been fit, he hasn't been available, and he hasn't played. So I guess we're going to find out what Mason Mount's made of, why we were so desperate to sign him, and I'm eager to see what's going to be happening here. I really am. Daniel says, feels so bad for Brian Dare. He isn't even going to get a match. He'll make a match, don't worry. He'll have an appearance somewhere. Jarl says Barca can buy Greenwood for 60 million. And we have a 35% sell-on clause. I'd be happy with that. Yeah, look, I think that's not a bad deal. A sell-on clause is a possibility. I just think you're looking at too messy a deal for United to bring him back to this club, because ultimately the media, a lot of people online and a lot of fans were up in arms over the approach last year. It caused massive divisions within the club, with Richard Arnold facing so much internal pressure on that there. I just think that it's in everyone's best interest just have a clean cut and let the guy go somewhere else. If Barcelona want him, let them have him. That's what I would say. But yes, Dan Gore has signed for Port Vale. That's a good move for him. I'm glad that he's going to get some kind of a move there. I do think there was something to do with Preston North End, so I'm surprised maybe he hasn't gone there, but it is what it is. I would like to touch on some other stories as well that broke today. One of note from The Athletic, definitely a really interesting read, and again, it's not really making anything look good for these players. This coming in from The Athletic, Ten Hag's approach, from his meticulous nature, in which he repeats instructions to ensure everyone has grasped the finer details of the plan, has created a fear in the effectiveness of the sessions, and they vary between a large and diverse group of players, especially during longer sessions, which can run closer to an hour. Apparently, the players are getting fed up with having repeated instructions said to them when they're not getting it. When moving around Carrington, it's understood Ten Hag converses with everyone in English, except for the occasional conversation in Dutch with Mitchell van der Gaag and other Dutch members of his team as well. And that has created a language barrier. I mean, look, these are some of the most ridiculous things I've really seen as well. Ten Hag's reiteration of the same principles, both in interviews and training sessions, seems to come from a desire to ensure certain details are properly understood by all. Some players are said to have occasionally grown weary of his repeated mention of concepts that should be straightforward and self-evident. The longer Manchester United manager spends attempting to explain what he wants from his players, the more he risks losing their attention. Well, I mean, I have absolutely no sympathy for these players if they're complaining about Ten Hag telling them what to do. I mean, I don't know why they put these kind of briefs out there into the press and expect a good reaction. This kind of screams at the time when they tried to get sympathy of us all by saying that Ollie made them train at night time and they had to drive home in the dark. It is genuinely delusional as well. Daniel says, need Brian Dare to have a 10 out of 10 and get the fraud Onana out. Stephanie says, annoying thing about Mount signing was increasing his weekly wage from 200,000 to 250. Yeah, that was. Chasport says, where is Wamba going? Big talk of Wan Bissaka going to Saudi at Al-Nassr. That is the initial talk going out there today. Around 35 million seems to be what the reported deal could be worth. Look, I don't know if it's going to happen. I would be surprised myself if it happened in this window, because notoriously we don't make a lot of signings or sales in the January window. We tend to loan young players out, we tend to maybe loan some players in, but we don't typically see a lot of big deals happen in there as well. Jarl says Ten Hag is a perfectionist and sometimes that can cause issues. Yeah, look, absolutely, you know, I do understand that, I completely get that, but my worry with it is these players are being told tactical instructions which obviously they're not following out, because we see it on the pitch, and then they expect to run to the media and get some kind of sympathy from the fan base as well. So I'm not too sure about that there one. Rajad is down there as well. Let Wan Bissaka go. Yeah, look, I mean, I don't condone. I don't know. I'm just like, in my opinion, I think Wan Bissaka is a good player. I think if you move either on, you could maybe move Dalot on, because I think there's more players who can do what Dalot does as opposed to what Wan Bissaka does. I don't think either of them are particularly good enough to be the out and out first choice right back at this club. I don't think either of them are a perfect player. I think that you probably could do better than both Dalot and Wan Bissaka. And that's not to say they haven't had good moments at times this year. That's not to say that they're awful players, but I just think you can get a better blend. You can get a fullback who can defend on a similar level to Wan Bissaka, who can also go around and actually make some difference going forward. You can have someone with Dallo who can have the on-ball qualities, make some better crosses, get some cutbacks, get some assists, and defend better than Dallo does as well. So I think you got flaws in both those players. I think we can do better. I think maybe you see one of them leave pretty soon as well, and perhaps you see a new right back brought in the summer. That might be the plan. That might be the objective. I'm not too sure. But yeah, look, definitely interesting there as well. Look, that story came in from Mike McGrath about Al-Nassr prepared to make that bid. I think it's an interesting one to keep an eye out on. It is. An interesting story as well. Manchester United monitoring Andre Brooks, according to Attacking Football and various online ITK accounts. Whether or not it's going to be 100% true, I don't know. But, I mean, Andre Brooks, one to keep an eye out on, perhaps. Perhaps that's one of those kind of smaller, cheaper deals we pull off in this window and it makes it some kind of a difference. I don't know. Rajat says Wan Bissaka is overrated. I would sell both, says Chatsport. Frimpong says Rajat. Jarl says we cannot move anyone on. We have 4 fullbacks and 2 of them are injured. I don't want to see Lindelof as a fullback ever again. He ends up blasting the ball into the opponent's feet and lets them score. Yeah, look, I'm very happy for Victor Lindelof to be a player let go of in the summer transfer window as well. I think, look, this summer is going to be a really interesting one because I can see a lot of players being moved on. I really can. And I think we need it. I really do. I think that we need a lot of change. And I think bringing people in, and I just want to move on to this really quickly when we're talking about it, bringing people in like this new CEO we have in Omar Berrada, you genuinely have top quality people coming in. There's talk of Paul Mitchell. There's a lot of talk of Dan Ashworth. Now today there's talk about I think it's Nipe from Bayern Munich. So he has left his role today. Could he be someone that we potentially look at? I'm not too sure. That could be Marco Nipe. So he could be brought in there as well. He was a club director. He could replace Darren Fletcher. Look, these are potential really big upgrades that we could be making. Look, we've seen stories put out overnight, and whilst I think it's interesting that the same journalists who didn't know that Omar Berrada was going to be made CEO are now in the knowledge of what he's going to do as CEO, I'm not too sure about the reliability of that there, but certainly some of it is very interesting. And one of the policies he looked to have had at Man City was if a player really doesn't hit the ground running within a year or two of being signed, maybe you start to look at moving them on. Maybe you made a mistake and you try to rectify that there by going back into the market. And that's something I think we need as well. I don't want to see players like Donny van de Beek here for 5 or 6 years who don't make it within the first 2 or 3 seasons and just kind of sit around and eat up the wage bill, eat up the squad, and just take a potential new signings place within the squad. I don't want to see players like that getting to hang on at this club for a really long time. Same maybe goes for Harry Maguire. Same maybe he's going to go for McTominay. Perhaps you look at a Martial as well. There's a lot of players like that who would have been moved on to other clubs. So I think that kind of change is important. And I think bringing people in of the quality of Omar Berrada, Dan Ashworth, Paul Mitchell, Marco Nipe, players like that is going to make a really, really, really big difference, I think, as well. Stephanie goes, Dallo for me is like Clayton Blackmore in the minus the free kick goals in the famous sunbed. That's a good one. Rizako said Ronaldo get injured. True, they went to China. Yes, their friendly is off because Ronaldo got injured. It is kind of ironic that there one. Jarl says sounds like Ronaldo did get injured. Rizat says do we get Marcos at CDM from Atletico? We're talking Marcus Llorente. I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of players we're looking at. He wouldn't be one of my first choice. Jarl says 2 big channels are both thinking United get Ashworth. I'm not too sure about myself. I think he's used as a deflection to get someone else. I think you potentially look at him coming in. I think we're going to get him in. And the reason I say that is there does look to be a relationship, a friendship between deal, Brailsford and Dan Ashworth. So Brailsford, of course, is the guy heading up all this internal recruitment drive that we're on at the minute, making the decisions on who goes and who stays on the footballing side of things. And if he thinks Dan Ashworth's the guy, then that's who we're going to go with. We went for Omar Berrada very, very quickly. We went very, very hard at that deal and we got it done. And ultimately, INEOS seemingly really, really wanted him to come in as CEO. And that was always going to be one of the first things that they did, was look to replace the CEO. And I think maybe they've made a good decision with this one. I do. Bath time is down there. I got the power back on. Absolutely, bath time. I'm back. Don't worry, bro. Rajako's looking for Torres. He got 1 or 2 years and he was allowed to leave. Yeah, look, I think that's the kind of ruthlessness you need. You don't want Donny van de Beek stinking the place up for 5 years. You don't want Jadon Sancho being here for 3 or 4 years. You don't want Anthony Martial being close to getting a testimonial at the club. That's not what you want. You want to have that kind of perform on the pitch, or you'll have to be moved on. That's the kind of cutthroat business that you need to be in at the top level. And it's not that we haven't seen it before at United. We've let big players go. We've let bigger players go than Donny van de Beek and Anthony Martial in the past. So I see no reason why we can't do it again. Bath Tango's is Gambia 2, Cameroon 2 with Onana benched. Yeah, I'm not sure what the stipulation is for Cameroon. I think, do they have to win to stay in the tournament, or is it a case that if they go out and just get a result, they'll manage to stay? And I'm not too sure about that there one. Jarl says Cameroon scores 3-2. Bath time, my house is about to blow away. I'll see if it's near you. Honestly, guys, it's a bad one tonight as well. It's meant to be another storm, so it's not going to be fun anyway. But yeah, look, some interesting stuff out there. Andre Brooks is one that I did spot being linked to us earlier. I think another one's Marcus Edwards. Again, look, these are good players. I mean, I don't really know too much about Andre Brooks. I know Marcus Edwards a bit better. I don't think he's the natural type of signing we need. I don't think he's the wide players that we need. And it's no slight on him as a player. I think 30 million is a really good price, but he's just more of an interior forward, and you would maybe still have those same concerns that you do have with Jadon Sancho when he first came to the club. Is he a guy who's going to go on the outside? Is that what we want to do? Look, it might not matter. We might move to a system with a new manager who wants interior forwards, but I guess we're just going to have to find out there as well. Rajat says Dan, Cameroon is eliminated if they don't win it. I think are they winning? Are they 3-2? I think that's the score at the minute. Look, Dan Gore has gone to Port Vale as well. That's an interesting one. Bath Tangos, we need Cameroon in the AFCON. This is a man looking to see Altay Banjer make his debut for Manchester United as well, clearly. But yeah, look, Cameroon 3-2. Christopher Wu give them the leads. What's that there? 95th minute. They were 2-1 down about 5 minutes ago and they're 3-2 up. So definitely a big comeback there for Cameroon as well. Yarl says T are winning right now as well. But yeah, look, absolutely kind of crazy scenes there in the African Cup of Nations. It is one of those tournaments that gives you just results like that as well. Rajat goes, why do we need them playing? I think it just depends on your opinion on Andre Onana, because if you want Onana back, you're like, yeah, let's get Cameroon out. If you want Onana gone from the club for as long as possible, then some people are just saying, yeah, Joe, let's see Cameroon go on a run here. Bath time doesn't want Onana back. There we go. He's sick to death of him. That's what we were looking for. That's what we were waiting for as well. Guys, big ups on those 13 likes as well. 3 goals in 5 minutes is right Bath time as well. What have we got down here? Wan Bissaka is a player of the year in our good after season. Wan Bissaka and Bruno's United heartbeat for this season, says Muhidin. Yeah, look, I don't think, just answer your question, I don't think Wan Bissaka goes. I think it's just a story that is coming out. And look, I've no doubt that there will be interest from Saudi Pro League for a lot of our players. I'm hoping in the summer it's going to be for a lot of players that we want to move on. Casemiro's, Varane's, Sancho's, Anthony. They can take all those players. They can take Harry Maguire as well, maybe. They can take Victor Lindelof if they want him. £60 million if they want Johnny Evans as well. Jarl says 3-3, and Rajat goes Onana with Casemiro, Martinez, will look okay. He might look a little bit more safe. Apparently this game is kind of crazy as well. This is a group match, isn't it? So it does have a definitive end to it as well. It's not going to go down to extra time, I don't think. But yeah, look, it looks like a bit of a crazy match there anyway. Let me just quickly see if I can get it up there. Which actually is an open match. I don't see anything about it being 3-2. Maybe Google just hasn't updated either. I don't know, guys. I might like. It looks kind of crazy as well. I wonder if it's on iPlayer or something. Hold on, what's that? Let me see if I can get it on iPlayer here as well. VAR check says Jarl. It's an open match. I don't know, guys. This AFCON seems crazy as well. Bat Tangos, I'm not a huge fan of Casemiro. I'm very Martinez skeptical these days. I'm not, do you know, man, I will say I'm not Martinez skeptical in terms of ability. I'm skeptical, or I'll be looking with eager eyes to see how he recovers from this double surgery. I think playing wise, you've got a fantastic ball playing centre half there. I think I have bigger problems with Casemiro there anyway, because I think he's just kind of done at this point. And I would say, what, like with a 4-year deal on his wages, you're looking 60-70 million pounds to see that deal the entire way through. So I'm not too convinced that that's the right move there. If we end up moving him on, I wouldn't be surprised in that sense as well. Time says, come on, VAR. Stephanie as well is saying, is that the penalty shootout score? I don't know what's going on with this Cameroon match. It does seem to be a crazy one. Jarl says disallowed goal. All of the drama's going off in AFCON. Really, it's been a really entertaining watch. I think you get some of the craziest moments in football in the African Cup of Nations. You really do. And whilst you might not get the quality that you might see in like the European Championships, you get you absolutely get the entertainment value. It looks to be a really, really bad handball as well. I think the Gambian player has basically punched the ball into the net. I think that's what happened. It's like playing foot champs, honestly. Deliberate handball as well. Guys, what are we up to? We're up to 13 likes as well, 14 likes. Big ups on all that. Just in terms of the poll, interesting enough, 65% of people say they will take 30 million for Wan Bissaka this January as well. Stephanie said computer says no. I've seen like a clip of it here on Twitter, and it just looks to be the Gambian player has like punched the ball into the net. It's the most blatant thing I've ever seen. Bat goes, if this goes to penalties, I'm gonna land my house in the Cameroonian goal. There we have it, man. I don't know. Maybe, has your house got a steering wheel or something? That there be an interesting one. But look, guys, to get back to the main stories as well, just whilst this madness is going on with Cameroon and Gambia in the African Cup of Nations, I guess we can talk about Eric Choupo-Moting, because that looks to be something we could be bringing in. Lemon says he's no comment, no one troll. He's bored of trolling Rajat and Stephanie. Missing Lucky Singh, and Jarl has blocked me. I don't know what's happened to Lucky either. Lucky's disappeared. I know he's on United agenda quite a bit. Maybe Bath Time has made Lucky sign an exclusive contract there to be in the chat on TMUA. Maybe that's what has gone down here. But I haven't seen Lucky in a while. I hope all's good with him anyway, if he is watching this back. We do miss you, Lucky. 16 likes as well. Big ups on that there. Thanks very much, guys. But yeah, to go back to the main story, Choupo-Moting, I think if that man gets a move to United in this window, you would be looking at perhaps the single greatest performance by an agent in footballing history. To go from a flop at Stoke to PSG to Bayern Munich, then to Manchester United, you would be absolutely be making it as well. Where that goes, Lucky goes to other streams as well. Bath Time hasn't seen Lucky in a week or so either. I don't know where he's gone to, but I mean, he's always on here as well. Big ups on all those likes as well. I don't see any change in the scoreline here anyway. Into the 99th minute for Cameroon. You would have to think this is over at some point. This AFCON match. And yeah, I think if they manage to win this one, I think they will go through. Let me just quickly double check. Yeah, they'll go through in 4 points. I think Cape Verde will go through as well. Bathang goes, maybe he blew away too. Stephanie says Lucky is a great hiding place, bit like McTominay. And Jarl says I like Lucky. He's really excited about the club. Yeah, I mean, I like Lucky as well. He's always on here. and always in the comments as well. A good guy for sure. But look, guys, any more thoughts? Make sure to drop them in down below. Let me know the thoughts ahead of a big match this weekend, Newport County. Surely this is a case that we just have to turn up and play well. Surely we can't go out to Newport County, and maybe I'll get clipped up for saying that as well. But I think this is one of those matches. Winning it should be a given, and it's about your level of performance. It's about scoring 3 or 4 goals, making it really, really easy as well. I don't know if that's what's going to happen. 17 likes as well, says Stephanie. Yep, we're up to 17 likes. Thank you very much for all that as well, guys. And yeah, look, this happens all the time on YouTube, honestly. Anytime I don't get on here for like a couple of days, it does tend to be a slow or a smaller stream. But I mean, like, the level of support from you guys is crazy. What, 17 likes from 50 views? I mean, you can't ask for better as that at all. Batham says Lucky's class. I hope he always uses emojis and never sentences. And Rajako's get Choupo-Moting or Nenzema. Nenzema must be some player as well. Carrying Benzema. I mean, there looks to be something talks about Benzema going to Chelsea. That looked to be something that was coming about earlier. That would scream a top bully type transfer. Who knows? Maybe Jose gets the Newcastle job and brings Benzema with him. Maybe that's something that could happen. Jeremy's down there. McTominay scores a brace against that pub team and starts the next 10 matches. Gotta hope that he's not playing that match. We really do then. We really, really do. Look, I think we'll see some alterations in that match. I think you might see Martinez in there. You might see Mount come back if he's fit. Casemiro. I would expect to see Garnacho in there. You might see Amad Diallo. It'll probably be a different team anyway. Looking forward to it. What have we got? Stephanie saying, let's see if we can get 20 likes. Yeah, would be much appreciated if we can do that. Bath time. Surely Benzema is one of the worst people we could bring to the club. Blackmail teammates underage. And keep him away from Cobby and the lads. Yeah, look, absolutely, man. Just, it's the type of signing we don't want. Undoubtedly a fantastic player when he was at Madrid. He's been playing in Saudi Arabia now. That's just not the type of deal you want to see us make. If he wants out of Saudi, you know, that's understandable. A lot of players seem to have went there and have been shocked by the time that they've had. They haven't enjoyed it. Looking at you, Jordan Henderson. But I do think, like, Benzema, I mean, come on. I can't justify us spending 350, 400, 500,000 pound a week to have a 36-year-old striker on loan, even if he is good. I just can't justify it. I don't think that's an INEOS move. I don't think they'll do something like that. Jasper goes, Benzema's on 100 million a year. It makes sense if he's linked with Chelsea. It probably would too. Rajat goes, if we lose the FA Cup, damn. Dark Rose down there. Hello, it's me, Lucky, saying on my new account. I'm pretty sure that's Luman as well. Jarl says Benzema has fallen off a lot this season. He's not been performing. Bath Tango's football-wise, been one of the best centre forwards in Europe for about 10 years. No issue with that, but it's always his character. Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much nail on the head there as well. Nail on the head. Honestly, I'm like half asleep here as well. I really do apologize. But yeah, look, that is genuinely that pretty much the situation. I can't see us bringing Karim Benzema in. I think the time would have, if you wanted to bring him in, would have been when he left Lyon to go to Real Madrid in the first place. I think we were in for him then. We didn't get him, and ultimately that was it. Like, but Altay Bayern will play against Newport County at the weekend. That will happen. Full-time Gambia 3-2 Cameroon. Cameroon will be in second place behind Senegal, and Guinea will go into the round of 16 as well in the African Cup of Nations. That's according to Karolanka, who has been pretty good on that one as well. But yeah, look, African Cup of Nations is genuinely crazy as well. Interesting night. I'm sure a lot of people will be watching Middlesbrough versus Chelsea in the League Cup. I really hope Michael Carrick can get it done at Stamford Bridge. Brajako's best striker of his generation, Lewa and Firmino, is who? Yeah, I mean, yeah, you could probably put him up there as one of the best nines. Suarez as well. What is it with good number nines and just being absolute dickheads? And absolute, just very questionable characters. I mean, what you got? Luis Suarez, you got Karim Benzema. I don't know, two of the best of their time anyway. Thankfully, we're not bringing either in. In terms of that poll, guys, 23 votes, 65% said they would sell Wan Bissaka 30 million in January. 35% would say no. I would be interested to know Bath Time's opinion on that, because I think if we got 30 million for Wan Bissaka, that's a good deal. I don't think either of Wan Bissaka or Dalot are the best, and I think you can do better than both players, respectively. I think if you keep one, you maybe keep Wan Bissaka because he can lock down an opposition winger really well. But I mean, then again, you want to get players who are good defensively, and a good defensive player should be capable of that as well. Jarl says Chelsea should be smashing Middlesbrough, but anything can happen in the cup. Rizak goes, they say Saudi League is easy. How come Ronaldo is doing well and Benzema and Firmino is shite? I think it just depends on the team and the temperament and how the players are taking it anyway. I think Ronaldo could be playing in a pub league, or he could be playing a five-a-side against geriatrics. He's going to give his best and he's going to give his all, regardless of who or what he's playing. I think there's just question marks with other players, because the standard of the league isn't particularly good. And if you're a good player, you can get by doing the literal bare minimum. You're there to promote the game, create an environment, and create a buzz about the league. You're not necessarily there to be the top goal scorer. Like, yeah, if you want to work hard for it and go for it, you probably can, but I think a lot of players do have that kind of approach to it. Bath Time says, I've seen a lot of players in Saudi saying one of the biggest issues is it takes 3 hours to get to training because of traffic. I'm not a fan of Wan Bissaka, although he's been better in recent weeks. Anything above 25 million, I'd ship him off. I would agree with that. Stephanie says, loss of 20 million. Chelsea would make a profit if they had Wan Bissaka to sell. They probably would. I think we overpaid for him initially, and the big thing with Wan Bissaka was he was always good at defending, always really, really good at 1v1 defending, closing down, a left winger, recovery tackles. That was always his strength. I think your big hope was always that he would improve the offensive output. It never really came. Now, I think he's maybe better than what some people perceive him to be. I don't think he's an aesthetically pleasing player. He looks a little bit awkward, but he is effective when he does it. But I think you could ship him on. Stephanie, I've seen Rizal goes, no, Ronaldo wouldn't sign Aaron Wan Bissaka. Wouldn't be Ronaldo signing him. Wouldn't be Ronaldo signing. But I don't know, Rizal. It might be. We've seen that they were potentially looking at Emerson Royale. So, I mean, their taste in right backs is maybe nothing special. Man Utd, Wan Bissaka used to earn 10k a week per Palace. We bought him for 50 and gave him 80k per week. Stephanie says, can't understand Wan Bissaka criticised for his attacking play when he started off as a winger at Palace. I just think there's been a big regression in his attacking play, because I don't see good crossing from him. I don't really see attacking output or anything. I think he's better as a right back, absolutely. But I just think it kind of depends on what we want to do as a club going forward. You know, what kind of style we're looking to play. Where are we going to find ourselves in terms of a playing style? Rizal said we'll get Zaha over Wan Bissaka. I don't know. Zaha doesn't seem to have had a particularly fun time at Galatasaray either. A lot of players leaving their clubs for pastures new. Kind of found out it's not always greener on the other side. You know, we are looking at Zaha and the likes. I think a lot of money spent in the Turkish league last year, a lot of money spent in the Saudi league, and a lot of players don't seem happy. Chessport says Wan Bissaka, a decent player. I thought he would make a decent centre back. I think he's good 1v1. I don't think he's got what you would want from a centre back in a lot of senses. He loses his man at the back post a lot. There is other question marks about aspects of his defensive work in terms of his reading of the game. Sometimes he can be playing other people on side. I'm not too convinced of him as that type of player. I think a right back is probably where he's best at. I don't want to see him playing left back again. Like, I really don't want to see that as well. Rajako's 19. Stephanie says 20 on the likes. I've got 20 here. I've also got 17 people in the stream as well, so thanks for joining in, guys. Get voting on your poll. Let me know your opinion on Wan Bissaka. Would you take £30 million now? Would you look to move him on into the summer? Because I know Wan Bissaka is a fairly popular player. There is a lot of people in the fan base enjoy watching him play, and a lot of people think that they prefer him to Dalot. I think Dalot's got his own weaknesses. I think you do better than both players potentially. Steph says Wan Bissaka is a perfect old-fashioned man marker. Yeah, I would agree with that. I would agree with that, but I think maybe he is too much of an old-style fullback in terms of what we need, and in terms of what we want. I don't know. Maybe he turns it around. Maybe we go and hire somebody and we don't even play with fullbacks. Maybe Ten Hag gets the sack. We bring Tuchel in. We play three at the back. And we play wing backs, and there's no place for Wan Bissaka. I'm not sure what could be the option. Man Utd, there's no glamour in other leagues like in the Premier League. Not too much anyway. There's really not. I actually seen an argument between two of my friends, and they're basically, one of them had said, outside of Real Madrid, Barcelona, probably Girona this season, Atletico, and maybe one or two other teams in the Spanish league, you genuinely are looking at championship level for a lot of those clubs in La Liga. I don't know. I don't really watch enough Spanish league, to be honest with you, to make an opinion on that. I would watch some more of the Bundesliga. I would watch some Serie A, even though it can be absolutely boring as well. But I don't really watch a lot of La Liga anyway. But let me know your thoughts on that one for anyone who does watch Spanish football quite a bit. Let me check for some of the latest news coming out at this moment in time. There was a couple of things that we did want to cover as well. Let me see if I've got this. Whereabouts was that? Yeah, there was Arthur Vermarin. He was listed and potentially being looked at by Manchester United, and he's a player who is now looking like he's going to Atletico Madrid. So that could be that could be something interesting there to keep an eye out on. Ghana are out of the African Cup of Nations, and Cameroon to advance in that tournament as well. Look, it's going to be an interesting one, guys. If you want to let me know your opinions as well, down below on Eric Choupo-Moting, would you take him in this upcoming transfer window until the end of the season? Do you look at it as just like an Igalo type signing, because Martial's likely to not play for us again either? Chatsport says Spanish league is so desperate for investment. Yeah, look, I think that's their biggest problem. It is investment. I think Madrid and Barcelona respectively are taking a lot of the money from other clubs, and they're needing that for their own bad financials. I think Premier League does quite well at giving a lot of money out to a lot of different clubs, and you see championship clubs spending more than top flight clubs in other leagues. I know that we put a buy-in clause, I think it was for Hannibal at Sevilla, for around about 20 million. Outside of Atletico, Barcelona and Real Madrid, no Spanish team has spent over £20 million on a single player in a good few years, and that's across the board. But yet you still have Leicester City with a team with several players who were signed for 20-30 million pounds in it. In the Championship, you do get those kind of scenarios, and there definitely is an uneven playing field in that sense. The English football, and especially the Premier League, has done a really good job of building the wealth of those clubs. It's so difficult for championship clubs now to try get up as well, because they're coming up against teams who are just better across the board than them at most things. And yeah, look, I think that's an interesting one, because you will genuinely see players leave Celtic and Rangers for a bigger payday in the Championship. That is something we've seen before as well. Stephanie says, let's hire Paul McKenna to hypnotise the players into believing they're elite footballers. I think somebody has. I think someone has hypnotized them into believing they're elite footballers, Stephanie, and I think that's the problem, because they think they're a lot better than what they are, and that's why you see them saying that they're looking at it from the point of view of Eric Ten Hag's training and too much instructions, and they can't follow it and stuff, and looking sympathy from it. Liman goes, Rosat needs to take a break, so does Stephanie as well. In Radcliffe we trust. I'm going to reserve judgment on that, because I'm not going to be someone who's going to flip-flop so hard from side to side. Look, over the summer, I thought the Radcliffe bid looked really weak. I think with the full details now, it was the only one that was ever going to win. But I think when you look at it, all things considered, I think there's still a lot of work to do, and I think it's good signs. We're bringing the right people in to make the right calls. I think that's good, and I think we're going to have to wait and find out how it plays out. I have a lot more faith in it this time, though. I do. Jackos, do we replace Ten Hag with De Zerbi? Depends on who you ask. Look, if Bathtime's in the comments, he will be saying, absolutely not. I don't want sideways passing football between centre-backs. And De Zerbi, he gets a lot of plaudits at Brighton. When Brighton lose a match quite badly because of a tactical flaw, no one really points it out too much because it's Brighton. So I think, we are still looking at it from that point of view. I think there's talk of Thomas Tuchel being a potential option for us to look at. He could leave Bayern in the summer. That might be someone we take a look at, and I think he is an elite level coach and never been sacked by Chelsea. I think there's other good options out there as well, but I mean, I think we got to do better than Graham Potter. I think we got to do better than looking at gaffers like that there. To be honest with you, Chelsea goes. Those who run the Liga could do with making it more competitive. Absolutely, they could do. Absolutely. I think that's one of the big problems is just the money is so concentrated with Madrid and Barcelona. Nobody else gets a share of the pie. I think Girona have come out of nowhere this season, but reading deeper into it, they are a part of the City Football Group, so maybe it's something we should be expecting, and you could see players go from Girona to Manchester City in the future. That could be a potential avenue for them to make some new signings. But yeah, look, I think La Liga's got its own problems as well. Lemon goes, don't care about replacements. All I say is Ten Hag out. Enough is enough, says Luman. I think we got to have a good replacement as well, though. Like, I don't think anyone can really sit and tell me that Hansi Flick or Conte, like Allegri, is like the answer for us. I think, look, the answers might be out there. I think whoever it is will be helped by having a really top level sporting system around them and having some of the best people in football, some of the most knowledgeable people in football making the calls around them and helping them out. Jasper says Potter met with Palace directors last week about taking over. That could be something we see. I mean, you might see that. It does look like there could be a job opening coming up at Newcastle United if things continue to go badly for Eddie Howe's team at the minute. So look, the managerial merry-go-round, the wheels will start turning and spinning, and things will happen. They always do. I just think if Ten Hag goes, we've got to have the right replacement in mind. I would like them to be able to start as soon as possible. So you would have to look at someone like Nagelsmann, who might join after the European Championships, and say, is that something we want? Is that something we need? But really, I think a lot of the household names are going to be out of the picture, and that's why I will say this here. And I was thinking this earlier. I think in the year of 2024, I think we can look beyond some of the lazy reporting, some of the made-up reporting, some of the shit-stirring reporting, some of the clickbait reporting, because a lot of it is out there. And you see a lot of it from places like TalkSport. You see a lot of it from The Sun, the Daily Star. I don't think we need to be gaslit by these people who are supposed football experts into believing certain things about our own club. I think we as fans know where the club is going, and we have our own opinions. And I don't think someone who reads up on us and looks at the results at the weekend and says, let's go, United's got this problem, this problem, this problem, I'm a genius, or having people like Gabi Abon who are trying to convince us that Nemanja Vidic wasn't a good defender. I don't think we need that there in our lives anymore. Let me just quickly have a quick check on this, just whilst we're on that subject. I'll have a quick look at some of the favourites for the manager's job. I'll have a quick look at them because I think a lot of it is just not going to happen. Steph is down there as a club, ever loaned their manager out. Just a thought to see how bad it gets without him. I mean, maybe. Need to see how he will deliver with the new board and INEOS 25%, says Rashad. Stephanie says passenger players need moving on. Absolutely, they do as well. But yeah, look, I mean, if you want to look at some of these people, I mean, none of these people are top quality options. Don't fall for this here. Graham Potter, no. Lopetegui, no chance. De Zerbi, I will be surprised. Hansi Flick, Zinedine Zidane, Conte, Areola, they're not going to happen. Jose Mourinho, like, there's maybe 4 or 5 people who they would potentially look at. And look, the main objectives will be done. INEOS themselves will know what they're looking at. They will know what they want, and they will know what they're going to do. The people they're bringing in, your Omar Berradis, your Ashworths, your Marco Nepes, your Mitchells, people like that. The footballing board are going to make these kind of decisions, and it's not going to be, it's shock horror. It's not going to be Zinedine Zidane. It's not going to be Antonio Conte. It's not going to be somebody like that. And it might be someone we're not too familiar with. It might be somebody who is not a household name, which I'm sure will go down like a ton of lead balloons at the TalkSport offices. I'm sure Grim Sinis will be telling us why we should have brought Big Sam in. I'm positive Gabby Bonhor will say he would do a better job himself. So I just gotta leave that there. I think we'll leave the stream here anyway, guys. So look, thanks a lot for joining in. Make sure to keep an eye out on the video dropping tomorrow. That will be looking at our top earners, what we're likely to do with them in terms of INEOS, and what Radcliffe's going to take a look at, kind of looking at business valuations, kind of looking at contract lengths, and what we're going to do with certain players. That should drop about 1 p.m. tomorrow. We'll be live again tomorrow night as well. And then there should be another video up on Thursday as well. Plenty of content to keep you guys entertained. So thanks so much for watching. I've just hit my microphone, but I'm done. And have a good night, everyone. And enjoy Middlesbrough versus Chelsea if you're watching. Enjoy the African Cup of Nations if you're watching that as well. Or if you're chilling out, have a good night, guys. Thanks very much for watching. We'll catch you, everyone, in the next one.